Everybody, it's Adam from LUCIDPIXUL, and I'm very happy you're here to join me in this art talk today. And of course, Merry Christmas if you celebrated Christmas yesterday. Happy Hanukkah if you're celebrating Hanukkah right now. And of course, to the majority of us out there listening, we're going to be celebrating New Year's Eve in the next couple of days, right? We're going to be hitting the big 2017 very soon. So what do we do when there's when New Year's comes around? Well, it's our big red reset button on our lives. It's that date, that time, that deadline for us to make big change. You know, lose that weight, quit smoking, find financial independence, kick our careers off in the direction we want to, get that portfolio on the way, apply to that great job we were looking for, find the love of our lives, or dump the one that's been driving us nuts for the last 15 years. God only knows, right? But we make a resolution for ourselves. It's that big reset, but that big next chance. And we make a resolution for ourselves. And for the majority of us, I'd say a good 90 to 95% of us, it never happens. Now, if we've done this a couple of times, 2-3 times, then, I tried, I failed, I'll try again. But then there's other people that have been doing this for 5 years, for 10 years, for 20, 30, 40 years. Every year rolls around and they still haven't achieved what they're trying to achieve. They still haven't overcome the obstacles, either emotional or financial or psychological or whatever the case, or physical, right? We don't overcome those. So as years pass, as years progress, it starts to accumulate. And we go through different phases of letdown. We go through, whatever. We laugh about it and we have a drink and a smoke and we go on about our lives, right? Or we're like, oh, this year is going to be the year it's going to happen. A little bit more disappointment. But there's a little tinge of hopelessness in there. And then there's the people that have been going through it for about 10, 20, 30 years who go, you know what? I don't expect big things to happen anymore. I've come to terms with the fact that I won't succeed, which of course is a big load of crap, because if it was, you wouldn't even be talking about it in the first place, right? The very fact that you brought the subject up in the first place on New Year's Eve is probably a good indication that it still bugs you, right? So don't bullshit yourself. Well, what I want to talk about today is to give you a little shift in perspective. Instead of regarding this big reset button of New Year's Eve as that big excuse for change and letdown, instead, I want you to actually learn psychologically, what is it about New Year's that causes us to fail, and what we can learn from this so that we don't fail. And I'm going to start us off by giving you a few awesome examples that really help illustrate exactly what I'm talking about. Number one, Stephen Fry, one of my favorite human beings on earth. In an interview on YouTube, I think it's Stephen Fry's Lessons for Life or something like that, I can't remember. He says something along the lines of, making goal setting in life is an utter waste of time. And I might have even referenced that in earlier art talks. Goal setting is a waste of time because the majority of the time you fail at reaching that goal and you feel like crap about yourself. Or maybe you do reach that goal, but you realize it wasn't the right goal and you needed to go somewhere else. The next quote from another Brit that I love more than life itself, and you can tell I love Brits. Okay, and this is actually from John Cleese. Keanu Reeves asks John Cleese, why is it that even though human beings are responsible for all of these horrible things on earth, why don't they just change? And John Cleese turns to him and says, it's because it's not until we're on the brink that true change ever happens. The third example is going to come from an experience in my own life that happened not last New Year's Eve, not the 2016 New Year's Eve, but 3 months earlier. Okay, 3 months before that, where I quit smoking. Okay? And a lot of people go, Adam, you smoked? Yes, I smoked for over 20 years, actually. I started when I was around 20 or so, and I continued to smoke until just shy of my 39th birthday. Now I'm 41, okay? And did I fail at that? No, I didn't. In fact, I haven't had a cigarette since then. High five, Adam, right? And not only have I not failed, not only did I successfully quit smoking, and I'm only telling you now a year later because, of course, if I told you that on January 1st, 2016, you go, yeah, you're going to be smoking again. Okay, I'm not. In fact, I haven't even thought about having a cigarette. Quitting smoking was one of the easiest things I ever did, even though I did it for 20 years. Why and how did I quit smoking? And furthermore, how many times did I fail? Well, I failed probably around 6 or 7 times. And I failed every New Year's when I really decided I was going to make that change. Every New Year's Eve I said, I'm going to quit smoking. And then I'd go, and the night before I'd be drinking and chain smoking and making myself ill. 15 packs of cigarettes, just keep giving it. I made myself so viciously ill the night before from chain smoking that I didn't even want to go anywhere near a cigarette. I was green, sick from smoking because I wanted to toxify my body so that I would be completely turned off with them. And that worked for a day. And then once my body cleared out, then I lit myself back up again, and that was the end of it. And I did that for about maybe 6-7 years. And then at a certain point I said, fuck it. If I'm going to quit smoking, I'm going to quit smoking because I feel like it, and I'm going to just keep enjoying smoking until then. And I continued to do that for many, many years to follow. But then, just shy of my 39th birthday, in 2015, I made a real decision to quit. And I succeeded. And I succeeded with great ease. How did I do it? Well, what you need to understand is what triggered my desire to quit in the first place. And it was physical. It was a physical need to quit. I was feeling very sick for a couple of months. And I didn't know why. And I was, I was asking Dr. Google online, what could be the possible reasons why I'm feeling this way? And why do I feel sick all the time? And blah, 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 blah. I really couldn't explain it. But I personally, being somebody who had smoked for over 20 years, attributed it to smoking. Because as smokers, we all have that subconscious guilt that we're damaging ourselves all the time, right? We always have that little voice in the back of our head saying, you're causing yourself permanent damage, you're going to die of lung cancer, you're going to get this or that. And I started to feel sick, and I thought maybe this is the reason why. And this has got to be the only reason why, because I exercise 5 days a week, because I eat super healthy, because I've got a positive attitude, because I handle my stress really well. But smoking is my crutch. That's my Achilles heel, right? And I made an emotional connection between feeling sick, the word is feeling sick, and smoking. And it turned out that that wasn't it at all. It had nothing to do with smoking in the end. However, because I made that psychological connection, that real psychological connection between how it made me feel, and I had an image of a cigarette and smoking, and I connected that with the way I felt, that every single time I looked at a cigarette, it made me feel sick. Okay? It made me feel sick. Okay? And you're going to go, why do you keep doing that with the word feel? I want to put emphasis on this word feel for you. The reason why is because I connected smoking to something emotional, not intellectual. A New Year's resolution is an intellectual decision. It's up here. It's in your brain. And if any of my students who've studied who've taken my mentorship at LUCIDPIXUL know that I'm very much an emotional minded person when it comes to learning art, when it comes to living my life. The emotional part of you is where you tap into all of your greatest abilities. Your ability to see, your ability to hear, your ability to smell, your ability to perform, your ability to achieve. All happens from your emotional self. Your emotional core. But your intellectual brain, the one that watches a lot of self-help YouTube videos, and the one who goes and gets the dummy's guide for blah, 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 and the one who's trying to rearrange his life and make everything work, the person who's trying to find the financial stability she's always wanted, that intellectual self is only superficial. Being an intellectual decision only matters when you're trying to decide whether or not you should get a 600 watt power supply for your computer or a 750 watt power supply. But when it comes to any important long-term decision in your life, the intellectual brain is nothing but a distraction. And when 2017 comes and you say, I'm going to make an intellectual decision to find financial stability, you're going to fail. And it's usually not until our physical and our emotional selves have been pushed to that brink that we can make those very important, life-changing, and permanent decisions in our life. With that said, when it comes to deciding that you want to get financial stability, when it comes to finding that career you've always wanted to becoming independent, to becoming a freelancer. You need to find a way to connect that decision in your life to something personal and emotional, something physical, something you can physically feel with your body, because a feeling lasts forever. Remember that, something I tell my students all the time. Nobody will ever remember what you tell them, but they will always remember how you make them feel. You can feel it in my voice that this really matters, and this really has changed my life, okay? It wasn't the fact that I just made that decision to be emotional and everything followed suit. It was that one day it clicked in my brain that, yeah, any of the big changes I ever made in my life was for an emotional reason. So it's not something you have to go out and find excuses to do. If you need to find an excuse to do it, it's because you're emotionally not connected to it. Had I made the decision to start an private online mentorship because I thought it would be a smart business move to make, starting my own business. I want to find some financial independence with that. See how it goes. Had that been my reasoning behind starting LucidPIXUL, I guarantee you it would not exist today. It wouldn't have lasted. I wouldn't have succeeded. I wouldn't be continuing it. My heart wouldn't be in it. It would have failed. I would be doing something completely different right now. Okay? The reason why I knew LucidPIXUL would succeed before I ever even started it is because I had a very, very important emotional reason for doing it. And the emotional reason was I was sick and tired of people, including myself, having to pay this premium to be lucky enough to take this course in this subpar learning institution, to be crammed into a classroom with another 60 other people all sharing that same dream, to be given this absolutely pointless piece of paper that said, yes, you completed our course at this blah, blah, blah institution, and being thrown out on the effing street without a valuable portfolio that's actually going to get them work. Nothing but this stupid piece of paper and debt, an amazing amount of debt. and I just looked at this and thought, number one, we're artists. If there's anything about artists, we're all very, very unique. Just because I draw and Bobby draws and Trisha draws does not mean that we followed exactly the same learning path. Okay? It's not A plus B equals C. Every artist on earth, their own particular direction in life is a recipe, and it's a very, very specific one. Very delicate little mix of different spices and herbs and flavors that has concocted together to create this recipe called their own particular artistic style. So to cram them into a classroom with 60 other people is, by definition, recipe for failure. When I, year after year, felt more and more emotionally frustrated trying to find the information, the simple, straightforward information I needed to level up in my own artistic skills and my own career, to finally overcome it, which took me frickin' forever, I had a very strong emotional reason to start a private mentorship. I was sick and tired of seeing people get exploited and shortchanged. And I thought to myself, if change is going to happen, best place to start is right here. If you're looking at your own life right now and you are struggling to find success, and you have tried and tried for decades and decades and decades, maybe you're 30, 40, 50, 60 years old, and you're still struggling to find success, then you, my dear lady or gentleman, have more drive, more incentive than anybody else on this planet to be incredibly successful at what you do. But whatever it is you decide you want to do, whatever path you decide to take, make sure that it hits right at the heart of what it is that hurts you so bad. Because if you try to make this decision as an intellectual decision, I guarantee you, it's not going to last. Because my need, my desire, my emotional drive to be a teacher and to be this type of teacher, to be a mentor, is as strong today as it was 2 years ago when I made this decision, is the reason why I continue every single time I have a class with a student Every single time I have a private session, that I put 1,000% into it. In fact, I get better and better and better every time I teach it. I don't get sick of the curriculum, I get better at it. So as far as New Year's Eve is concerned, when that big 2017 red button presents itself in front of you, and you have a decision on whether or not to press it, I hope you don't. I hope you take that big red button and you throw it in the garbage, and you start looking inside yourself to find a real reason to make change. It doesn't have to be 1,000 things, it only has to be one. But that one will be so grand that it'll be life-changing, and it'll define your purpose, your legacy for the rest of your life. Because you were born with the tools you need to be the greatest success you'll ever be. All right? So hopefully you enjoyed this art talk. I want to wish you once again a very happy new year. And of course, if you're looking for a private mentorship, LucidPIXUL, that which I have been going on about at length for the last God knows how long, you are welcome to get in touch with me. I'm actually right now in the process of signing students up for early 2017. So January 2017, I've got a lot of spots open, so give me a shout. As well, if you want to join in the Brush Sauce Theater Art Contest, if you haven't already, it's a huge and growing community of artists that all get together and submit artwork once a month. And it's based on a certain theme, and it gives you free exposure, free feedback from industry professionals, myself and Tyler Edlin included. And so join in the game and join the community and get some awesome feedback on your work. All right. So all of the information for the mentorship and the art contest can be found in the description below. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment if you want to share your own personal opinions on my art talk or ideas for art talks in the future. All right, everybody, take care.